Hi everyone, Terry here, your daily solicitor on anything legal, and I'll always be your legal advisor.
Somebody ampe ku updates ezili eyo nalufenya solo kumanya kitiyo bali atolekede nga paka enkadde wanonga kupaka enkadde okusambya sambyako butere vunyonyi ni dala bazibye olugudo wanonga kupaka enkadde bali mukuzimba bazibye olugudo tiagas agena vuga military police nyingi bagena kuba
Today we're going to talk about something extremely both local and international, something that has been trending for a while. And today I'm here with my classmate, someone who I went to law school with, very brilliant gentleman. I don't know whether he wants me to introduce him or I should introduce him, but he's by the name of Becca. How are you, Becca?
I'm okay. How are you, Terry?
How is everything?
We are in a struggle.
Sure, but you don't look like you're struggling.
Well, it doesn't have to be written all over me. But
You're right. So, Becca, the viewers want to know briefly who you are. What topic are we going to discuss today, or you want me to introduce a topic? You can just discuss who you are.
I'll just tell our viewers who I am, and then you.
Okay, you can just tell us briefly. Okay.
My name is Becca Mugambe, a lawyer, currently pursuing my postgraduate diploma in legal practice at the Law Development Center.
Okay.
Yeah. And currently undertaking my clerkship at KAHUMA Law Chambers.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm happy to be here.
Okay.
Just to share my thoughts.
Simply Legal is happy to have you. Now, Becca, the viewers want to know about this topic we're going to talk about today, and that is, does Uganda have a right to take down these YouTube channels connected to Bobby Wine? Because as me and you both know, and as some of the viewers know, the Ugandan government wrote a letter to Google, because Google is the parent company of YouTube, wrote a letter to YouTube asking them to take down 14 to around 17 YouTube channels, which are connected to Mr. Robert KYAGULANYI's political aspirations. We are here to discuss the legal side. But firstly, before we go to the law and past cases, I want to know your opinion about it. What do you think about this letter?
Well, I had an opportunity of perusing this letter.
Yeah.
According to me, or according to my interpretation of this letter.
Yeah.
I'm not. By the way, before I carry on, I'm so non-partisan.
Everyone says that, and I had a video you're going to say that.
Non-partisan.
I'm non-partisan too, but I talk
non-partisan.
about Mr. KYAGULANYI a lot, actually.
Yeah, I mean, he's trending. He has to be talked about, definitely. Yeah. So when I read that later, Uganda Communications Commission was trying to request these different platforms under Google to take down the different channels, like Ghetto TV, Uganda Empire, and the rest. A reason being, the posts on these platforms. Okay, this is the reason of that UCC gave. Were inciting or threatening violence.
Yeah.
In our country, and specifically they quoted the recent November riots, where we had over 50 people losing their lives
And several injured.
These electoral riots. Yeah. Personally, my opinion in regard to the same.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the sole mandate of GCC?
Well,
They're in charge of communications in our country, right?
Yeah.
So is YouTube above the law of our country?
I would say yes. YouTube, firstly, by it being a company that's owned by the USA, actually has no allegiance to Ugandan laws. Because if you really look at it, YouTube is a worldwide platform and it's owned by Google. Now, these guys cited Regulation 45 of the Uganda Communications Commission Act. Regulation 45 says that anyone who incites violence using media of any sorts, especially which is not registered, is liable for imprisonment of about 2 years, and you have to pay currency points. But when we look at it in the bigger picture, Google can only adhere to a few of the laws which Uganda has. because UCC says that actually Google's terms with Uganda, because it has to register here, Google's terms with Uganda state that anything which is not in conformity with the laws of Uganda, Google can then now not operate here. But then Google doesn't have any servers here in Uganda. That's why Uganda cannot catch Google. That is why they are just writing an ordinary letter to them.
Well, if I may try to respond to what you've just stated, like you said, if there is something contrary to the law of our country, then Google can take that out of maybe their services that they offer in this country.
Yeah.
You know, there are those websites you go to and they're like, this is prohibited in your country or in your location.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is Google trying to comply with the laws of the given nations that are enjoying their services.
Yeah.
However, much as UCC or Uganda Communications Commission does not have a right to impound or compel Google
to take down YouTube channels.
To take down those different Facebook and different
YouTube
online
channels.
Well, it still has its mandate.
It still has mandate
of regulating the communications within our country.
Mm.
Well, I'm thinking the first step would be looking at the reason they are giving. These channels are threatening violence or inciting violence. When you look at threatening violence, this is actually an offense in our country.
It is.
Which
law is that, by the way?
Section 81 of the Penal Code Act.
Section 41.
81.
81.
Yeah. But when you look at all these criminal offenses, one thing is very important. The intent.
Perfect.
The intent.
Yeah.
So if I upload a picture of someone slapping an officer, I've not told other people to follow suit and go ahead and slap officers.
Yeah.
You understand?
It could just be something funny. Exactly. Like a meme or something.
It may not even be funny per se. Well, it could be. Or it may even be something alarming and you want to put it to the attention of the world.
Yeah.
We had people standing in their offices and recording people trying to shoot at them.
Yeah.
So if I record someone trying to shoot at me, how am I inciting violence? Number one, I'm shocked by these different acts. That is why I'm trying to put it out to the world to see what is happening.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
I mean, in case I go missing, people have somewhere to
look for you.
They're like, well, he uploaded something on his status,
and he's now missing all of a sudden
at his office building or premises or his house. You understand?
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
Beckham, if you look at the recent trends in this whole Google Uganda government thing, Google, the spokesperson for Google here in Africa, she's called Oko. She's a lady. I was reading it and she was really interesting. She actually told Uganda government to go to court. Reason why? Because they said that for such a substantive claim to be taken in by YouTube to then take down these channels, then the Ugandan government first has to go to its courts of law and get a document or a sort of a very sounding evidential document, which they'll then present to Google, and then now Google can think about taking down these channels. But then we have to remember, fairness has to be there in the world, right? Yes. 14 YouTube channels to be taken down. That earns Google a lot of revenue because these channels get over 59 million views. Each of them have around 3,000 subscribers. That's a lot of revenue. So if
for YouTube,
yes, but then YouTube cannot lose all of that revenue. They also
very scared. What? No, but these guys are shooting in front of them. What? Jesus, no, mommy, tear gas.
I've never faced tear
mommy,
gas.
have you? Mommy, we can't even die. Mommy, I'm very scared.
Scared what?
Mommy, you can't be doing that. Mommy, no. Jesus Christ, please, Lord. No, Mama, what? Mommy, I'm very scared. So help us, Lord. Mommy,
They are not going to shoot anybody.
are you sure? Oh my God, Mommy, the whole family is in this car.
No problem.
Mommy, I haven't given birth. Mommy,
have their own policies. Mr. Chagulanyi did not have the intention. He may not even know about these YouTube channels. But it's more of a political move because legal and
it's a political move?
I think it's a political move. That's my honest opinion. Legal and political, there's a very thin line between them. I don't know what your opinion is.
My opinion is going to be split in two now at this stage. Number one, politics has found its way through the cracks of our dark nation. That is what I should say. In every sphere, whether it's music, whether it's
the law,
whether it's hospitals, whether it's school, somehow you have politics. Entangled within. So we cannot do away with politics in our conversations. Even people who are not into politics, like myself,
they have to mention it.
Yeah, I mean, it is part of our life as Ugandans right now, and even the timing. We are just about to get into our presidential elections.
So
then the second bit. So I'm thinking, okay, when you look at my first segment of my opinion, it could be a bit political, as you've said. Number two, like everything else is political. Yeah. Then number two, like you said, Google cannot base on just an ordinary letter. Just to bridge from my former statement of looking at the provisions of the penal code, I'm thinking UCC should, or the government should, take out or should institute criminal proceedings against these people for threatening violence, contrary to Section 81 of the Penal Code. So how that will go down the road in court, if they succeed, definitely they will have a court order and all those other things directing the same channels to be taken down by YouTube and Google and Facebook and all these other platforms for being contrary to our law here. But as it stands now, I don't know of any law that says if I report events as they happen, I'm inciting violence.
And more so, if they were to remove all of that, if they were to remove these channels, isn't it a breach of our fundamental right of expression? Isn't it a breach of our right of expression?
Well,
because that is in the law. If, for example, I run this channel simply legal, I'm a Ugandan, I have my right to expression, and the Constitution is a fundamental grand law of the land. So to take down these channels, Uganda Yafe, Ghetto TV, isn't that taking down their right of expression? Because they're expressing themselves through these videos.
I don't think the right of expression is non-derogable.
It's not a non-derogable right, but it's also an international right under the conventions.
Yes, just like all other rights, but you should not enjoy those rights at the expense of the state or the nation. So if I'm not saying those channels are inciting violence, like UCC is alleging, but I mean, like I said, if they are to go to court, like most lawyers are advising them, and I would also advise them to do the same and take out maybe like criminal proceedings against these people. If at the end of the day they get a court order, and it is really proven in court that these channels are really threatening violence, contrary to that section of the law, then
they actually have a chance.
Taken down. I mean, they can be taken down because they're not going to enjoy their freedom of expression as they are threatening violence of the nation. You understand?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah,
but if you really look at it, the death of these 50 people on the streets, dear viewers, the death of 50 people on the streets, it already happened. Now, recordings on videos are of a past event that happened, not so? If you upload them on YouTube, how many Ugandans have access to YouTube? The percentage, I was looking at the statistics recently, that's the percentage of people who can access videos or smartphones in Uganda are about 12%. That already leaves 88% of Ugandans not being aware of these things. The rest of the Ugandans can read them from newspaper. So does that mean that we have to blame New Vision, Daily Monitor, Observer? Should they also have to close them down for inciting violence? Well, is that a good question?
Well, that is a very interesting question.
Yeah, because New Vision and Daily Monitor have to publish these things.
Well,
all of them are media.
One thing I would say about that, every life matters. It doesn't matter whether we have 1% people going to view the posts inciting violence or threatening violence. even if it's one person going to be slapped, even just being slapped,
his life
that is
matters.
violence. That matters, even if it's just my little kiosk that is going to be burnt down, not necessarily me dying. It also matters. You understand? So at the end of the day, I think if at all these people are threatening violence, it doesn't matter whether it is 100% people on Facebook are viewing these things or it is 1%. You understand?
Yeah.
That is my honest opinion.
Okay.
But the courts will be the ones to
The
judge
courts will be the
whether
ones to
these
judge.
people are actually inciting and threatening violence or not. Then another thing that I would want to tell our viewers is that in our day and era, I mean, everyone is a journalist now. You get?
We live
Everyone is
in
a
an
journalist.
information technology era. But
Yeah,
you're done with your opinion?
yeah.
Personally, of course, you already know my opinion. For me, I think in no way is Bobby Wine connected to these videos.
Yeah.
They are in some way connecting all these 14 YouTube channels to him, and I don't think it's right in the long run. But Becca, thank you so
Well,
much.
the riots are about Bobby Wine, so clearly they have the right to.
He was arrested
connect
unlawfully, but that will be a topic for another day.
I wish everyone who was arrested had that impact. I don't know who would be left in this city.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
that's
Becca. This was more of a discussion. We're not giving our substantive submissions because the case is still ongoing. But thank you so much, viewers. For those who are new to my channel, feel free to hit the subscribe button. For those who are also new to my channel, feel free to hit me in the comment section, talk about this video, talk about anything you want me to talk about in a future video. This is Becca. Once again, thank you for being on the channel.
My pleasure.
And we'll see you next time. Thank you.